to stay warm, is so afraid of my affections. You could drown in your own storm. There's no need for reservation. No one else can see. After some examination, man, I think that you've got what I need. It's really alright. It's really alright. It's really alright if you don't love me. What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me? What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, a cold-hearted landscape or me?
Hello, darlings. We are back with air conditioning. So, I was going to throw this away, actually. It was like, it's just going to take so much needling to make this work. Do I really want to do that? Then I took it into the dark and put a light in there, and the effect was so cool. I'm still on the fence. Make another one from scratch, which might be faster than doing all the needling required to get around here. Yeah, I think I'm talking myself out of doing this. This ended up being such a nice felting job here. However, that doesn't mean I can't use this for something else. Excuse me. This would actually make a good scrubby, like, in the shower. It's wool. It doesn't mold. It just drains really easily and dries really fast. And that's the value of it in like winters that are wet, wool socks, things like that. Anyway, I have not tested this as a lantern. I will, of course, but I don't know what to expect really, other than the light coming out of the top. And since it's white inside, it will glow. It'll look pretty cool on that front. But I don't think necessarily you see light coming through the sides, which is the most desirable thing. Like, girl, it's nice to see all of the decorations illuminated from behind. And all the different shadows and stuff you get. Now, after I get these two pieces stuffed, I'm going to attempt something I've never done before. That is to make a long, on my table, a long scarf. I have not made any scarves from scratch this way before, and of any kind or any length. I have done pre-felts though, and I'm familiar with that. So we're going to give it a shot today because I have plenty of this particular yarn, and I already know it's going to look nice as a wool, as a felt, but we're going to play with it, and it's going to be a learning experience at a reasonable price, I think. And I think I only bought about $10 worth, so not bad. Also, it was on sale. It does help. Oh, but this brings you back to the festival coming up. I have time to save up some money for it. And mostly, I'm hoping to learn by observing and having a chance to ask people questions, right in front of you, to get the answers fast instead of having to look online and hope for the best. I've found lots of wonderful stuff here. This is where I picked up this whole hobby. We're going to let this dry like this on the rack behind me. I can still stuff it. There's room to make that come out more, but I kind of like it the way it is in the stretching department. You don't want to overstretch the merino, it's just too fine. Really, I should have at least put one extra layer in it. And some things you don't know until you try. And that's one of those things. However, the inlays did really nicely. They're perfect. As perfect as they were when I put them in, I should say. So, any flaws mine, not the technique. So this is just a little lantern for myself, a little night light. There's a pink light. It's very soothing on the spirit. I shall be the spoon and the soup. How art thou? Aloha. I think I got two of these soon, but we have it on hand just in case. What did they have to say? They can't do anything either. It's really sad when people are literally calling out. Well, they're calling out to invisible beings sometimes, or they're just chastising themselves. They're caught in a loop that they don't control, and they need someone to help them. So that is very sad, but it's a little scary to be living with somebody who could be very unpredictable. Yeah, it's called dementia. And so my mother believed at the end that, well, actually a couple of years before the end, that her husband was cheating on her with an 18-year-old, was 89, and thought that there was a pirate treasure waiting for her. It's like whatever walks through the mind or in front of the eyes just becomes part of an inner reality that has no foundation in the material world. Okay, so this is what I repaired yesterday. I had to add a whole bunch of extra wool. Excuse me. I didn't do anything like boiling water, but this did kind of felt just enough so the color is not as outstanding as when I first put it in, but it's still an inferior product. But for my purposes, it's fine. I would go on and work on some different things. So this one also goes up very dry, which I don't think you can see on the camera. No, it has to be over here. Sorry. So we're seeing examples of why we want to keep our brains healthy and stay active for as long as we can, because we see what happens when we get older and we don't have the help that we need. So many of us are solitary by that age. And I have neighbors and or friends who would be happy to help me in an emergency. Up to a point, you know, they too are elderly people with their own physical issues. So, you know, we do get to a point where we need sometimes to hire somebody. In fact, I am planning, oh, it's not going to happen right away because I have to have money for my will first. I am going to hire somebody to help with cleaning. Okay, so this is too loose. Make this just a little tighter. This is the length of the scarf that I'm about to attempt to make. Now the cool thing about this, it only requires 2 layers max. Just fibers going one way, fibers going the other. That's it. We're going for as light a felting as possible. And also the good thing about that is, in general, just do 2 layers, they felt really fast. This is really long. I want to be able to double it. I only want it so wide. Well, that's something that you have to really look inside your heart, how you want to answer. You know you want nothing to do with her because she is bona fide nuts. You don't need antagonists in your life. But that doesn't mean you necessarily have to be rude. But there are points where people are so dense you do. Where if you don't say directly, they don't ever get it through their head. Don't offer sympathy because that's an opening. And really, do you feel compelled to even acknowledge that you got the text? You could you also have the option of ghosting her, just pretending you don't get it and don't ever say anything else. Or there, I didn't want to read it. Just because it appears in your feed doesn't mean you have to read it. You can just hit delete. After a while, they get the idea. You're not responding. You're not interested in responding. And if they get aggressive or mean or nasty in their text because you're not responding, that's when you can say, you know what? I really don't want people like you around me. To be honest. Of course she does. And since you really can't give her anything with an open heart, the best thing is to disengage. But again, you always, and any advice that I give, you always have to remember to look inside yourself, because the answers that are for you specifically are always going to be found in here. Nobody can actually give them to you. Even if I give you advice that is completely true and works for you 100%, it's still something you have to reflect internally how you want to handle things. Otherwise, there'll always be this bit of dissatisfaction in your responses. And also, if you take somebody else's opinion or advice, it's also an excuse. You don't have to take responsibility for how you really feel. You can put it off on someone or something else, which is being dishonest. So when we talk about being honest, it's about to yourself. You can lie to the world, nobody gives a shit. But you can't lie to yourself. You do not like this person. Everything about them makes you uncomfortable. You're trying to avoid interaction. This is just the way it is for her. I honestly feel bad for my sisters because of their mental health states. And if I was rich, I would support them, but I wouldn't want anything to do with them, because they're the kind of currently kind of nuts that I don't want to be around. They're not cruel people, they're not bad people. Passive aggressive, I don't trust that. But it's not a lack of love for them. And I don't reach out to them because I know what I would get. I have all that experience in the past, so I don't want to repeat. So I don't. You know, I don't like to compare people to scorpions, but that story about the scorpion stinging the frog that brings it across the river, that it can't help itself. I witnessed that in my family. It's like they really, I mean, all of us, we definitely have momentum from our past, right? That's everybody. But then if we spot something that we're doing that's harmful, we don't stop ourselves, we go ahead and do it. Is it our nature? Is it, you know what? The last time my youngest sister threw me onto the bus, I predicted she would. I knew so surely that she couldn't help herself that I actually wrote to Rich and said, Rich, this is what's going on, and I'll bet you, I bet cash money right now. She will not be able to keep herself from throwing me under the bus. She can't control herself. 10 days was all it took. I was ready. I was totally ready because I was already psychologically prepared. It's like, well, she's going to do this to you. Do you want to go through with this? And I went through with it because I felt in the end it mattered to her, you know. So I took the chance and she threw me under the bus. But like I said, since I was prepared, she didn't cause me any actual harm. But there are people like that. There are certain things that can't stop themselves from doing or being because they've spent so many years of their life moving in that direction. Now, my sister, because of her own narcissism, she will never reach out to me. She will never ask me for anything. She will never apologize, which is the only thing I ask. So we're not going to have another, I don't want to talk to you until you are ready to have an adult discussion about whatever's going on in your head. You know, I gave her lots of room. And so it's not my responsibility. I love her from afar, and I always wish her well, because she needs a lot of well wishing. Okay, now I'm hoping for a lot of shrinkage. I don't know with 2 layers how much shrinkage I can count on. So I don't want to get too wide. Years ago, I had 2 scarves. Actually, one scarf first, and then I got 2 scarves. One was emerald green. It was gorgeous. It was a Vera Wang original. Had a little border of purple on it. A really cool purple. In this emerald green. It was just a gorgeous silk scarf, and it was very narrow, and it came to a point. I loved that scarf, and it was a very reasonable price. Matter of fact, although Gary's not here to hear it, I got it at TJ Maxx. Well, I was flying along the highway one day, and it went right out the window. I was sad. I wore that to my grandmother's funeral. So I went looking for another scarf. And again at TJ Maxx, I found 2 scarves, silk, that fit the description of just plain solid colors, though. I did not like either color. One was like hot, hot pink, and the other was gray. Well, as life would have it, I still have I think I still have both of them. They're not in the same shape they were back in the, oh my God, when was that? 1980 something. I got them. but there's still colors I don't like. In fact, I think I used a piece of the gray to try and repair this fingernail. And people said, "Oh, use silk." Like, yeah, where's my real silk? Well, that was it at the moment. Greetings, darling. How is my grandson today? I am doing an experiment. I'm going for a super long scarf. Here on the table, which is where it's going to get tricky. But I want to try. How is your weekend? Alice, good morning. Well, good afternoon. What the hell time is it? 12:30. Good afternoon. And to Charlie, good evening. Early evening, right? It's okay. Quiet on the family front. Any more? Well, when are you going to go back to the university? Yeah. It's almost dinner time. September. Well, hello there, Loin de Devilish. And how art thou? Midnight. It is indeed late. Don't worry, if you want to fall asleep, just keep listening to me talk. You'll get groggy. Midnight. Midnight. Are you in Australia? By chance? Uh, I sometimes dip back into my night owl ways, but I've been trying to get into a more natural rhythm with the sun, which has been tricky for me. I did spend most of my life as a night owl who had to get up early for other people and work. So when I was on my own, right back to being a night owl. Asia, far, far away from Connecticut, USA. So what kind of creative are you? In the future, we'll switch you down in front of a computer and you describe the criminal to the I'm sorry, I still don't have I can't see the whole sentence. Just wait until your next. Manal, hello. And no, I have not looked at my email. I have been absorbed by other little challenges. They're already doing that kind of a thing, Maui. They're coordinating flock cameras across the country, actually around the world, is what they're trying to do. That great big golden dome is all about surveillance for the whole globe. Oh, good. Okay. What we're doing today is an experiment. I am going to attempt to make a very long, narrow scarf. And I'm using the finest merino I have, or it's close to the finest merino I have. Because before I commit my stuff with the silk in it, we're going to just try it as a can we do it experiment. I have this roll of plastic here, and I want to do the whole roll with this. And here's the description from a human on what a face should look like. Yeah, it's mostly. Oh, well, that's not good. Since we're all very varied, what a human should look like, according to whom? You can't even say 2 hands and 2 legs because so many of us are actually born without a limb every year. Oh yeah, they have that in the court, right in the court. They have the court person who takes down the words and the person who does the drawings. And the police artist, I mean, we knew that back in the days of Dick Tracy, who invented all that stuff that was, look at the watch, you got television, radio, police, phone, everything right on your phone, on your watch, rather. And now it's very much like that, right? Now, this thing I wear, it uses, or if I want to get a bunch of data, I have to use the Run Me Fit app. Well, Run Me Fit has gotten more and more invasive about what it wants from you. And I denied it all permissions about where I am because I don't need all that stuff. I don't want phone calls on this. I'm not even sure it's capable of that because when I bought it, it was just really supposed to be a basic tracker. But now, in order to keep the Run Me Fit app giving me some basic feedback from my stuff on here, it wants you to plug into so many different things that are I mean, it's like it's got everything but your damn blood type. It's like, what the hell? I don't want you knowing all of this. I don't want you coordinating my information with Google and everybody else. It's like, mm-mm-mm. So I dumped it. Yeah, right. We're the right age. Maui's just a few years younger than us. He only retired, what, this year, Doc? Oh, yes. Yes. And I don't believe we should just unquestioningly hand all that information over. Every time there's a privacy update, you need to go and check what your privacy update is. And be careful what you're agreeing to. It's like, oh, this is from Samsung. Click here to agree to the current privacy policy. It's like, I don't think so. That's not how I work. If you're really from Samsung, I will get something official. It's just another scam. Let us get your information. I get that, Alice. I totally get that. I love tech. My first computer I got in 1986. And I loved learning how to take it apart and put it together. So, yeah, I was one of the early birds getting my first desktop computer. But my main goal with that was to write without having to waste paper with corrections and printouts. But now, actually, I stopped taking things apart when we got laptops. I can still take apart my desktop if I need to, but I don't. Laptops is when I became intimidated. Only once did I personally get the back off of one, for one thing. They don't make that easy. Which was my first surprise because I'm used to taking things apart, actually, and attempting my own repairs. So I was surprised. But then I saw how tight everything is in a laptop. It was so squashed in. I immediately got worried about shorting something with my body static. It's like, I don't even know where to put a heat sink. I mean, I don't know what to do with anything on this. And then I took my laptop to someone who was used to taking them apart. I got to see a whole workshop full of them taken apart. And the guy was nice enough to explain a whole bunch of things to me. Nevertheless, I still thought after that, you know what, I'm just gonna have somebody else work on my laptops. I'm not going inside it. I'll do the software. That's it. Okay, so now it's time to, this is where the experiment is coming. And as a writer, I love having the ability to do all those grammar checks and all that. I don't let anything write for me, but I'm very, very happy to have it correct my punctuation, you know, things like that, or where you type the same word twice by accident and catch things like that. Hell yeah. Saves me some editing time. Exactly, exactly. And it's come so far. When I first started working online, ICQ was our first original, by the way, chat, live real-time chat. And that was purchased by many companies to use that tech. That's why we have real-time chats right now. And that tech, by the way, came out of Israel. People don't realize how much tech we turn to Israel for, which is really weird. It's like, well, we're paying to educate them, and how about us? Because there's lots of people here in the States that want to be able to do that exact kind of thing. If something's broken, I try to fix it. Can't break again. That's a good idea. I do like to fix things. I've had the good experience of working in several factories. And I happen to love factory work because it gives you such a different perspective about how things are made, what goes into them, and also makes you less intimidated. Because after working in a couple of factories, taking something apart, I had a Korg Poly 6 synthesizer. It was very expensive, and I wore that sucker out. And when I thought it was dead, or it would have been dead, I said to myself, you know what? Let's take this apart and see what's wrong. And I got another year out of that by taking it apart. And it turned out the problem was really not that bad to start with, but I saw the problem happening. I was actually wearing it out. They only put so much silver on the computer boards, motherboards. So I was wearing the contacts out. So eventually you just need another motherboard, and that was $2,000. So we just finally gave up. But I was only brave with that instrument because first I thought it was a loss, and what could I do? I couldn't make it more dead, and it paid off. I understand that. I really did enjoy learning about my computer. When I got my first computer, I didn't waste time signing up for a workshop. That's why I was so brave to take it apart. Now, of course, now we have digital pads, and I have no clue what to do with those. They make it so you can't take them apart, for one thing, unless you're a professional and you got the right keys. There was even a kind of key to get the back off of laptops. Well, there was a wonderful website. I don't know if it's around anymore, but it was Eggheads. I used to get my computer stuff from them. Like I wanted to expand my RAM, I could go there and buy cards for my computer, etc., etc. You need different graphic cards, all of that. But like I said, once I started using laptops, I didn't need anything else. But as much as I love tech, like we all love tech, it has so many advantages. I mean, look at what we can do with just bringing old photographs back to life, like Doc's been doing lately. It's remarkable what it can do compared to the old days when I was selling supplies for you to hand color your photographs. Now you can do it in Photoshop, you can do it in your AI programs. The thing with AI, though, is you always have to remember that you're not the one actually doing it. You're giving it instructions, but it's carrying out hundreds of thousands of commands behind the scenes. So that's, unless you can actually duplicate that without needing the tech, it's not you doing it. But the tech is awesome, and it's very fun. I mean, come on, at least once a week, Doc sends me a picture of myself in any kind of form you can imagine. I have been a warrior, a pirate, an angel, a queen, a goddess. Yes, that is the problem. I just invested in a Lenovo yoga pad, 11.1 inches. It's basically the same size as my Kindle, which is dying because it just doesn't have enough room to do what I need to do. I bought an Asus laptop. I hate it. I hate it so much I can't write on it. So, because it's so uncomfortable to me. I figured the Lenovo is the way to go because I've gotten used to swiping things and making things move quickly, and I've been writing that way. I do get inspired in the middle of the night sometimes. And the Kindle has a little teeny program I was able to get called Writer. And it's been awesome. Oh, yeah. I hate that for you, Ree. Hey, I'm lucky my hands are still working, but not well enough to play the guitar anymore. I can play a little piano, but it's so disappointing right now that I just don't. But I'm enjoying being able to do this because it's not requiring the manual dexterity of an instrument, and it's very pleasant to work with. And as soon as I get the correct size glass from my Lenovo pad, they sent me the wrong size, I will get to work on the writing more, because I'm starting to feel the energy rising for the writing. Never force creative stuff. Let it rise. It's always better. I'm grateful for anything I can still do, you know? Before I had back surgery, I hadn't really thought about it. And I was in the hospital, and you know how they always give you that waiver you have to sign before they do surgery? They don't do it until the last minute. So, stuck in bed by myself late at night, I'm holding this paper and I'm reading, and I'm going, wait a second, I could die? I could be paralyzed? I just didn't really connect with that with major back surgery. And I laid there all night thinking about, all right, let's say you wake up mute or blind or paraplegic, or I went through all these scenarios in my mind, how to cope with life. What else could I do? Until finally I was just a head, and everything else was not working. And I said, if I'm left with just a brain active, then I will lay there for the rest of my life practicing telekinesis. That's very important. That's wonderful. We don't lose until we quit. We don't lose until we completely give up. And even then, we can give up and then come back. You know, there's no straight one-way trajectory. One of the things I love about what I'm doing now is I can make something practical out of this, even though I can't sew, knit, or crochet. This makes me feel a bit empowered about um, basically a lot of things. I can learn something new. I can make something useful. I can make gifts. It's all, it doesn't require electronics. You know, this is, even though the modern way of doing this makes things faster, the doing of it is really pretty ancient. People in Nordic countries have been doing this for centuries, just not with bubble wrap. Yes, that is the best place to be, isn't it? Oh, well, don't plan on getting anything figured out. Those are the things you learn along the way. You don't have to figure out anything in advance. Just pay attention to how you feel in the moment, and it'll help you make the best decision that you can in that moment. Because let's face it, life is full of weird curveballs. We don't always know. We can't always anticipate because we don't have enough information, especially at 22. 22 is definitely young, but also feels old, right? You've had to learn so much in such a short period of time. By the time you're 22, you start to feel like you're getting a grip on things, even though you don't have everything figured out. And then 10 years from now, you look back and you go, oh, I was so dumb. And not completely, never talk down yourself. But it's just everything is a learning process. The whole thing is a journey. There's no final destination. We come and go from this place all the time. It's not as dire as it feels. Yes, I hope you have a long way to go, a happy long way, because the future is in the hands of the young people. You will basically be charting the courses for your generation. You're part of it. And that is impossible to tell you how wonderful that is, because it really is wonderful. Now, when it's time to wet this all down, we've got to do a little bit of time. We'll have to readjust some of this. But if I do it right, it'll all still be basically together. I know, isn't that funny? Yes, but accommodate yourself first whenever possible. You're not here to change the world, other than you will, whether you want to or not, because you're part of it. You came into your timeline with purpose. No, there's no end game. It's the experience we're after. It's understanding how to be happy, learning how to love and accept love, all of that stuff. It's about us, but nothing is forced. And if you don't get it right this time, you get it right next time. There's always a next time. I mean, really, there's always a next time. Even if you croak today, there's a next time. So don't be intimidated to try new things. I think you're right, Lon. I think you're right. I agree. When people do what makes them happy and they get happy, that's an energy. Don't you love being around people who are happy? But sometimes our circumstances are fierce, and looking to be happy can be a little bit more challenging, to say the least. But as long as you don't give up on that understanding, when you reach for what makes you happy, you'll always make a better choice for yourself. And when you make better choices for yourself, it automatically uplifts everything around you. That's wonderful. What instrument are you playing? What have you started with? Ah, well, here is a question for you to consider as a creative, because that's what you are. You are a creative spirit. You wouldn't even be in this room if you weren't. Yes, it does. It's shortcuts. Learning how to manipulate the digital world for making music is wonderful. I gave it a go myself, and a friend of mine also tried to do it trying to do it long distance. Did not work out very well. Part of it is because as a singer, musician, which I am not anymore, but yes, it used to. I'm what they call a coloratura. What is it? Very. I'm very expressive. It doesn't. It's great when I'm singing or doing something by myself, but it's a little harder when I have to work with other people because I change a bit depending on my mood of something. So I would not be a good recording artist working with other people. So long distance didn't work for us. But music was always my first voice. I suggest, because you do have the music in you, we are, you might even say our names are in musical notes rather than actual names, the way some people think. We connect to the entire universe through song. Learn a real instrument, even if it's just drums. The actual physical vibration of playing an instrument will elevate you and also make you independent of the computer. If you lose power, you've got no music. Cyrus is Doc's cat, who is very much now enamored with an iPad, which is a good thing because he's young and extremely energetic and curious. And he was picking his own apps out. I want to play with this now. If he's sleeping on it, I guess you can't get it away from him because he'll know. Like, you took my pet, you took my friend. What are you doing? Yeah, I agree. I learned the piano. That's what I started on. Trust me when I say I'm not great. But I am a songwriter, and mostly what I do with my music is write songs. How well I execute them can be debated. But when I first picked up the guitar you hold close to your body. And that's when I started really picking up on vibration, not just the sound going in my ears being detected by vibration. It was like I could feel it all through my body. And I started writing music to that feeling. Kind of like when you hum, it calms your system down. Playing the guitar calmed my system down. And piano, of course, lots of vibration, but again, different because your hands are on the keys, but the soundboard is not touching you. And so you do feel it like with a Steinway. Oh my God, grand piano, you feel it. It is different. But my little hardwood upright did not do that for me. Try ukulele. I only use the tablet or phone. Well, I use the Kindle so much, not the reader, but the Kindle Fire HD, because I can watch movies, I can play my games, I can write. Um, when necessary, I can even do video chats. But it's very limited. It's an Amazon device, and it becomes more and more limited as they don't want to take care of old stuff so they can sell you new stuff, you know. All right, we need some more. I love the Kindle size because it's my companion every breakfast and bedtime. Because I play with it, I do whatever on it twice a day. Like every morning when I have my tea and orange and all that, I've got something going. At nighttime, it's the last word. Oh, the cello. Now, see, a cello, that will give you that same, you bond with the instrument because of the vibration. It just runs through your body. And I know you would appreciate that. Piano is, well, I still love the piano, and I've got an electric keyboard. I've got a couple of them, but one of them is out of commission right now. I don't have a soldering iron to fix a faulty connection. So it's in the corner, standing up, covered from the dust. Covered, not covered with dust, covered to keep it from the dust. I also have a pretty guitar. After I lost my really good guitars, mainly because the manufacturer shut down and there were no more repairs available for my Ovations. Gorgeous, gorgeous guitars, expensive guitars. Don't get all tangled up. We're going to try our own weird stuff as we go. And now I've got a Luna, beautiful guitar, but it's, I bought it when I was living in a tiny room that just barely had enough room for a futon, a tiny bed thing, and my guitar. So I guess it's called a 3/4 size, salon size, I don't know. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's got gorgeous abalone work on it. And after working for Jackson Guitar Custom Shop, I definitely appreciate good inlays. Oh yeah, I love drums. I had some electronic drums. Um, I just can't connect musically with the electronics other than the electric keyboard. I'm so used to having all that vibration that comes from, you know, making music more directly. It just feels strange. Now, I discovered that you can make a good drumming circle with nothing but an empty bottle used to hold fruit juice. Like, this is a good sound. And you can change it by adding a little water if you want. So you can make a drum out of anything. Oh, not anything, but use your imagination. Lots of different things make good drumming sounds because they're hollow and they just make good sounds. Learning any instrument is going to be worth your time. You get so much out of it. It's really very healing and calming, although you can use it to express anything, whatever you're feeling. Don't get too far up there. Very uneven. Now, when I have room to spread this whole thing out across a table, I will be laying down silk threads and that kind of thing, incorporating everything I can. This, though, is, this is an experiment. Okay, wait a second. Oh, my darling. Oh, nice. Have a good time. You two don't go out together too much, do you? Well, it's too early to sing you to sleep, so aloha. Catch you the next time we can. I'll be here tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow's Monday. I'll be here. I'll be late on Tuesday because Tuesday is an election day. And I will be at the polls. The election? No. This is primary. The real election for all the federal stuff is in November. This is all local stuff going on. But it's all important. Have a good time, sweetie. Charlie's been teaching himself piano, having quite a good time with that. Oh no, no, lay down, my dear. Get away from the light and pulsating lights. Ugh. Soothing. I love you too, sweetie. We want everyone to feel their best as often as possible. Now, this scarf should be really, really thin. and not very straight. We're looking for kind of fun edges. We're not going to be able to put too much texture into it because it's so thin. And to put that texture in, I usually have to get a little rough. And we don't want to get rough with merino. We'll just tear it apart. But that's another thing I want to practice, is making a cobweb scarf, which is you open up holes in it while it's wet. That's wonderful. Oh, congratulations. How exciting. So they want you to help and then get the hell out of the way. Don't let anybody see that they have family there when they're freshmen. They don't want to look like babies. But I will be back eventually. This is actually a busy week. I've got a doctor appointment and blah, blah, blah. So I will always give you at least 5 minutes notice before I go live, so you know, in case you're around. But have fun. Of course, you'll send me pictures. I was watching a spinner yesterday, a yarn spinner, and she was demonstrating the way she cards her wool. And she had a braid like I had. I've got a few braids. They're super fine merino, and the braids are dyed as a braid. So when you open it up, you get all these different color variations that are interesting. But one thing I had not thought of doing, like I think they call it a drafting board, but or a blending board. I'm not, anyway, what it is a big version of a pet brush. And it's a little pink thing. So apparently you can buy sheets of this, which gets pricey because it's kind of a specialty item. But you can buy a sheet of it and attach it to a board. So you've got a big one of these. And then you take the yarn and you drag it across. So she had taken apart a braid and was like trying to get all the colors in a certain way. And I just watched her mesmerized, and then I had to cook my dinner. It's like, oh, so that's how they blend it, and they get the colors different, and then they turn it into yarn. But we're not turning it into yarn. We're taking the raw fiber and working with it directly. Oh, is she? What part of it is making her out of sorts? Is it empty nest issue, or is she worried? Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lime. Come by anytime. If you subscribe and click the bell thing, I think that you'll find out that I'm around sometimes. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Keep on creating. Oh, the youngest. Ah. Is he the first to leave home for college? And Lime, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always nice to hear intelligent people share what they're doing and their opinions. The second one. Well, I think it's wonderful that they have such a close family. So that child knows that if he needs someone to help him through something, there's going to be somebody there. And boy, that is a blessing to grow up with that. But we can't keep them at home forever. We want them at some point to become independent, full human beings, capable of taking care of themselves. That doesn't happen by them staying at home. Ah, yeah, it's a long drive. What's he going to be studying? Coloratura. That's the word. Yeah. Oh. Doc sent a picture. Hold on. Oh my. What a pretty day. Is that rain coming in? I love when he sends pictures from Hawaii. Wait. Computer science. Oh, okay. Is that the one you were talking about before? Rain didn't hit anywhere. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetie. We could use some rain. Otherwise, they're going to be out there overwatering my plants again. Oh, good luck. You have to do a rain dancing. We're getting closer to the end. Oh. Don't overlook something. Uh-oh. Yeah, some stuff I don't even attempt to understand because it requires some actual study to get it, and I already spread myself too thin with the learning because I'm always researching something for the books, you know, with my last Numaris story. Oh, has it? I remember North Carolina being like that in the summer, but we also had lots of those days at 4 o'clock praying for some rain to drop. And where is it? Looks like it's ready to drop. The sky is dark, and then oh, you can't go out there with a hose in a field, you know? I mean, you can try, but it's not a good idea. Empty the well. Are you calling your cat or Cyrus? Cyrus, when he's up, watches me on TV. But then I use his name. closer. He's a cutie. You should post a picture of him in the in our group chat so Alice and Gary can see your cat. Since he's with us all the time. He's a cute cat. He's in his smartass stage. Now he gets woken up for middle of the night strolls in the hallway so he can inspect everything before going to sleep himself. Yeah. No, he's following his natural rhythm, and you're not. Up with the sun, down with the sun. We have electric light we're reacting to. We're wide awake when we should be asleep. That's what I was like. I'm trying to retrain my system to be up and alert in daylight hours instead of in the middle of the night. Because if I get inspired at 1 in the morning, just as I'm getting ready to fall asleep, I don't go to sleep. I turn the Kindle back on and write until I am satisfied or do research. Because something will cross my mind and I'll go, wait a second, I have to know about this so I can write in my head, etc. Like I've had to do a lot of research on Mars and atmospheric conditions and things like that. It is a science fiction fantasy, so science has to be right. That was for me. Yep, that is what they do. You have to be alert so he can safely go to sleep without having to worry about watching over you or the house. It's a watch cat you have. Nah, he's normal. He's a normal cat. He's just young. And he's smart. He needs more attention. If you have the patience, you could probably teach him to use word buttons and talk to you. Of course, he would probably drive you nuts. He would have a lot to say. If I had an animal now, knowing how we can train them, I would be fully invested in that, which would be a great distraction from the stuff I'm doing now. But now, of course, I can't have one. But even if I could, I might not, other than a rescue situation, because all the stuff I have and do is just too attractive to play in for a cat. I don't want to wake up one morning and find 8 suitcases of yarn in the air. Well, that's it. Exactly. Cats are active, they're smart, they have certain kinds of cat habits, like making sure, well, at least when they're young, they want to make sure that the house is covered so you're not going to sleep if they want to go to sleep. They will challenge you. They will look for the highest place in the place, wherever you are, highest place to stay. If you have drapes, they'll want to see if they can get up them. Cats are curious. But they're all different. They all have their own personalities, and I guess it's up to us to make the adjustments for our feline friends. Oh, we're getting close to the end. Oops. Of course, it's easier to describe a normal cat than it is a normal human. There is no such thing as normal with humans. Everything is normal with humans. It doesn't mean you want to be around it, but everything is pretty much normal. We are here to explore everything we can do and be while encapsulated in these bodies. So that leaves a lot. Yeah. Now, there is a difference between a smart cat and a dumb cat. A smart cat will get into way more trouble than a dumb cat. Dumb cats are just slow learners. They'll do the same thing over and over because they're amazed that it's happening again. I had a slow learner cat. I also had the mixed blessing of smart cats. Leo, very smart cat. Tinker, smartest cat I ever had. Manushka, not the smartest cat I ever had, but a sweetheart. Tinker, the only way I got a grip on him was literally getting a grip on him and pretending I was a big cat, a bigger cat than him, until he felt my teeth on his ear. Yes, I went that far. I didn't hurt him, but I was holding him down like I was going to go for his throat, like I was a real big cat. Scared the crap out of him, but of course I didn't hurt him. I was gentle and loving, but it was like, you're not going to do that again. You're going to remember who the boss is, or you're going to be getting lots of facefuls of water. So he did learn, but he was very, very smart, which is why he did learn. Manushka just, well, he didn't get involved with too many things that required smarts. Like Tinker figured out how to open up all the upper cabinets, get up there on the top shelf of the upper cabinets, and find the beef jerky I hid, get it down, and share it with his brother, well, friend, and eat all of the beef jerky I made. He was very good at doing things like that. That's why I had to play big cat on him. Yeah, look at that, see? He knows. Put your slippers on, Dad, it's time. I know what you need. That's like a dog bringing their buds their leash. Like, I never lost my keys. I have my entire life been one of those people that never misplaced my car keys or my house keys because too much depended on not losing them. But one day I did suddenly find my keys missing, and it was because my cat took them. And we had to have a talk. And then she found them and brought them to me. Like, is she trying to keep me from going to work today or what? After that, when I dropped a guitar pick, I asked her to get it. You're not cracking up, you're just observing the intelligence of the species and your particular specimen in that species. Cats are very smart. So are dogs. They understand English way better than people think because we don't know their language, because they don't have to have a language except to communicate with humans, because humans are the dumb ones, in their opinion. They love us, but they have to be patient with our misunderstandings. Yep, get back here. Now, cats, even, they all have their way of waking us up, right? They all have different ways. There's always the one that sticks his purring nose into your ear or up your nostril. Good morning. And they sniff at you, just make sure you're alive. I miss that. I miss that cold, wet nose in my ear, purring a song to wake me up. Alice, what's the craziest thing your kid does? Your furry kid. Or most endearing? I said, I loved waking up in the morning with the cat's nose in mine, purring. When I was 16 years old, I read a book on how to live with a cat. I think that might have even been the title. Now, I couldn't get a cat. We had two bull terriers who hated cats. So I was not getting a cat. But oh my God, I wanted one so badly. So I decided I will study how to live with a cat until such a time as I can get a cat. When you separate the wool with your hands, how do you decide how wide to make it? I'm not really. I pull off what I can. Merino has a very long staple, so sometimes you just end up with this really long bit. It's just a matter of how I'm grabbing it, but then I have to separate it to make it as thin as possible so it knits really well. I hope I answered your question. You go by the size of your hand, I'm gonna say. And sometimes just because of the way it breaks off. Like this is the way I pulled it. Some of these hairs are longer. Now, I did learn in handling the wool to not shake it back and forth because it makes the fibers go sideways and lock where you don't want them. Okay, so I got this. Separate that. I'll go ahead and open this one. And this is mostly the same size until I get to the end there. And to make sure it knits well, you want it to be as thin as you can get it. Of course, if we're going for texture, the rules change. You want a little thicker. But when I'm doing this, I'm filling in holes. And because this is going to be a cobweb scarf, or what they call a cobweb scarf, there's lots of really thin spots. After I put water on it, it's going to show up where it's really thin, and then I can separate it with my fingers and make it an actual hole. Because that's going to create a lacier effect when all is said and done. At least that's the hope. Like this. When you start playing with it, it's kind of like putting together a puzzle that doesn't have an actual defined edge. So you're looking for places to kind of plug it in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, this being Sunday, and I'm starting to feel like, uh-oh, I need carbs. After I get this all laid out, I'm gonna go make myself lunch. I'm not really sure what I'm having yet, but it won't take long. And then I'm gonna come back and do the wedding. Wow, it's a big chunk. When you start playing with it and you start to get the feel of it, it's just part of the learning process. And I'm learning to just kind of go with the flow while I'm learning how to do all this stuff. Like yesterday, I made that embarrassing mistake by lifting the netting off the wet layers of wool so fast. I pulled up 2 layers and wrinkled them. Now, in the end, the vessel, which I wanted it to be, original, and I don't like exact shapes like pure circle, square, um, in the vessels because it's more interesting to have more texture. So I got a weird shape that I like. But if I was trying to be super accurate, um, well, by messing up the inside of it the way I did, it changed the shape. In correcting it, I couldn't get it exactly the way I started out. But because, like I said, it's a vessel, I like the more organic shapes. I don't like anything that looks like it's been manufactured en masse. It's like, yeah, make it a one of a kind. And this one, the same kind of thing. I messed it up. I knew basically what I was doing, but I wanted to see how well the inlays worked, and I think they did very well. I'll know the proof of the pudding is when I put a light inside it. And if I get the colors I'm trying to achieve, then yes, great. If not, we're going to do it again a little differently. Never lands on her feet. Oh my God. That is weird. Has she always been like that, or is it something she's developed along the way? Does she have problems jumping up on stuff, like miscalculating because who knows why? Just lays there for a minute. She's lucky she hasn't been hurt. That's so rare for a cat. It's like she's missing something in her brain or her vision. I rescued a feral once. That was hell. That was when I discovered how upset a cat can get when she goes into heat. It was the first time in my life I had to observe what happens when you lock a cat inside so they can't get pregnant. I never saw a cat get so destructive in my freaking life. She tore up my curtains, climbing them literally, climbing the walls, climbing the Venetian blinds until they were destroyed. And this was all in one day. She shredded the place trying to get out. And finally she did, because the boyfriend came home and didn't know she was poised by the door. And she went out like she was grease lightning. And of course, she got pregnant, which was how I learned how expensive New York emergency animal hospitals are. Strange cat. Always. Lulu the cuckoo. Well, I respect that in humans. It can be frustrating with an animal, though, I can see. Hey, we were born to be independent, not just follow what everybody says. So good on you. Almost there. The Lulu is otherwise a healthy cat, right? It's just the inability to calculate a drop. That we're at the end. Yay. Oh, I know what I'm going to make for lunch. I'm going to make a quesadilla. Little cheese, little piece of leftover chicken. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, fresh tomatoes. Tomorrow I'll be starting some seeds to get going for the workshop on Saturday, so I can show people what it looks like, what they're trying to achieve in their jars and trays. My life is not Burger King. Very prissy. I think I had a female who was a bit prissy, Moisha. She wasn't to start with. I had her brother and her together, and her brother, at 2 years old, abruptly developed thymus cancer. It was a tumor around his thymus, and he filled up, his lungs filled up with fluid. They drained it, but then they said it's just going to keep filling up because we can't deal with the cancer. And of course, I was a very poor person back then in Ledyard, Connecticut, and I did not have many options, so I lost him. But when I lost him, Moisha lost her brother. They were so bonded. They were like yin and yang. She was solid black, and he was tiger stripe. And he used to talk to me every day. He'd come into the bathroom when I'd wash up, and he would have a conversation with me. I'd meow back to him. We would go back and forth, and he would sit there while I washed up and got dressed, put my makeup on, and whatever. He was part of the dialogue first thing in the morning. I was just so attached to him. So that was hard to lose him. But it was harder on Moisha because that was her best friend. And she went into a depression after that. And then I rescued Leo, who was a very sick kitten on the sidewalk. And she did not want anything to do with him. She would do things like fall over on him, like accidentally on purpose, and then boom, trap him on the floor, and I'd have to go rescue the little squeaker. So she was not happy about rescuing another little boy. But they eventually became extremely bonded, and when it was her turn to cross, Leo went into a depression so bad he stopped eating for a few days, and I had to go rescue another kitten. That's when I rescued Tasha, actually Natasha. It was a full moon in December. So what else could I name her? Eventually they all adapted to each other. And then Tinker came in and she did not like him. So yeah, I've been watching my babies over the years, all their different personalities and quirks. I miss them all. Okay, darlings, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to go eat. I will be back if you're around. Just in case, I'll text you and let you know I'm going live. We're going to wet this down and see how long a scarf I can make in this little environment. Because if this works, I could end up doing a bunch of stuff up here that I thought I wouldn't be able to. So we're gonna try it. Okay, get in there. Yeah. Ta-da! I have a whole rainbow on my floor between my two desks. They're lined up like this in a rainbow pattern so I can choose my colors easily. Of course, they might consider it a fire hazard, although I can get to the window. Just I'm looking over them. My beet greens are doing great. Did you know carrot tops are edible? The greens taste like carrots, only strong carrots. And they're very, very healthy for you. And there's actually recipes for carrot top salads and pestos. Like, really interesting. So I'm going to have lunch. I'll be back after lunch. And if you are around, I will love to see you again. If not, I'll see you the next time we can get together. So let me say, aloha. And let me spell it out in case you don't know how to spell it the way we say it. Aloha. Okay, that's it. Have a great afternoon, guys, or morning if that's the case, or good night's sleep if that's the case.